How you guys doing? It's Simba the Speaker here. Your cleaning guide, your guide to cleaning business success. Your cleaning guide, your guide to cleaning business success. I gotta see which one flows, but welcome to my channel. Hey, this is your first time being here. I would love and I would appreciate you if you click the subscribe button, subscribe to my channel, hit the bell notification, get notification whenever I drop. And if you don't want to do that, you at least will know, because I'm about to tell you now, that I drop videos every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. So welcome back with another video. So in my last video, I talked about how to effectively pay yourself, and I talked about the profit first system. And maybe I was just in my head a little bit, right? But like, I'm like, you know what? I feel like I don't know if I explained it or maybe gave enough tips about it. So I'm like, you know what? I wanted to make another video. And today's video, boom, is advice on how to master profit first. Once again, I still do agree. Go read the book. It's a great book. Financial organization is important, especially when it comes to just making sure that your business is profitable, making sure that you're scaling correctly, right? Making sure that you're good to go for tax season. So it's important. If you haven't read it, please go read the book. But as you know, as I say in my other videos, sometimes I can talk a lot, especially when I get really passionate. So what I'm going to do is get straight into this video, and we're going to talk about advice on how to master profit first. So the first thing we need to talk about is prioritizing your pay. Once again, I mentioned this in the last video. Actually, I'm going to put number one because that's tip number one. But I mentioned this in the last video, in which I said that a lot of times business owners were accustomed to this mindset or to this habit of paying everything and then paying ourselves last with whatever's left. And now the problem becomes just like, how can you as a business owner successfully and efficiently and effectively take care of your business and run your business if you yourself are not being taken care of? And I mentioned this in the last video as well, where sometimes, a lot of times, people are just taking money in and out of their account to pay for different things, taking money in and out of the account. And the problem is, you're kind of starting to mix the personal and the business, your personal expenses with your business fund is starting to mix. And it's just not going to look good on accounting. But there's, obviously proper ways to do it. But with that being said, I don't want to go too off-road. Prioritize your pay, right? When your revenue comes in, and you're looking at those percentages for each account, and I'll go back into that a little later. When you're looking at, what your owner pays, especially operating expense, we have to find a way to make sure that we are always honoring what the percentages are. If that means you are short for operating costs this month, you may be short. But you now know going into the next month that you need to cut costs. You need to maybe focus on how much you're paying your cleaners. So you have to really make sure that you're prioritizing your pay. The best way to prioritize your pay is to make sure that everything else, all the other percentages, make sense. And the reason I say you want to be consistent with it, because it shouldn't be a thing that month by month you're changing the percentages. That's not how it should be, right? We got to keep it constrict. We got to keep it consistent. We have to find a way to work within the means that we're giving ourselves. So prioritize your pay. One of the best ways to do that is look at the data. Look at the numbers. Look at the numbers and honor them. Right? If you have 10,000 and you only have, you're saying 50% is operating expenses, honor that. Don't honor that. Don't go and change it up. Honor that. You need to figure out, okay, how can we work within a 5,000 budget? Okay, we spend an extra 500. Where did we spend an extra 500? What can we do to help spend, less, right? Maybe control that extra. Maybe we want to keep it within the 5,000. What do we need to do? So sorry, I got a little passionate about that because data is everything, y'all. Data is everything. And as someone that was moving money in and out and doing it the unorganized way, I felt the toll that it took on me as an entrepreneur and that it took on my business as well. So that's why I'm big on that one. So prioritize your pay. Look at the numbers on them. If they're not good, like I said, you spend more money than you plan to, or more money that you have than you have in your operating expense account, or you need to find a way to cut costs. Second, going straight into start small. Start small to build consistency. So what do I mean by that? Maybe you want to just start by putting 1% into your profit account to build habit. To build habit, right? You want to be able to build habit. So maybe you're not ready to do, well, give me a second. I always hate when I write them so weird. Yeah. Habit. We're trying to build a good habit. We're trying to build a consistent habit. So if it's maybe starting small, maybe do 1% of this and 10% of this and 10% to tax, or maybe 5% to tax, 1% of the profit. You know, just build a habit, because consistency matters in this, right? Consistency matters a lot. Consistency matters a lot when it comes to making sure that you're doing this on a regular basis. Remember I said the monthly or bi-monthly, or you can do bi-weekly or monthly. Bi-weekly or monthly. Some people may even, want to do it weekly. You just have to know, you have to organize it so that it makes sense, right? You have to organize it so that it makes sense. Another point that I want to talk about, obviously how to master profit first, open up the accounts. Open up the multiple accounts. Now, I know that may seem as straightforward, but I tell you now, even me, I struggled with first opening up all the accounts, right? And sometimes to be an action, go open them up. And I know sometimes the whole argument over the whole con is like, hey, well, what if the accounts cost $10, $15 a month? And no, make that a business expense. That is an expense worth paying. For organization, that is an expense that is worth paying. It's an expense that's worth paying. So if you need 5 accounts, let's see if we can even do the math, right? If we do 5 accounts at 15, let's say at 15 a piece in terms of fees, 30, 60, 75, that's only $75 for the month to make sure that all your finances are organized. I promise when you're making 20, 30, 40, 50,000, that's $75 a month to make sure you're organized won't mean too much. So open up the multiple accounts. Open up the multiple accounts. That's going to be very important. It's going to be hard to do everything else if you don't open up the accounts. I promise. It literally will be so difficult to accomplish any of profit first if you don't even open up the account. Okay. So I didn't mention this in our last video. But I'm going to mention this real quick. And then go back to tracking data. Well, this is number 4. Remember I said that you have to put percentages on those accounts, right? So operating expense is going to be 50% of your revenue, 20% is going to be tax, 20% is going to be owner's pay, and then 10% for profit, right? That is what you currently have as your percentages, right? But Profit First also offers a perspective of having a target allocation, right? A target percentage that you'll be allocating. So maybe we're going to do it now. So we'll make a small chart. So we have current, we call it CAP, current allocation percentage, right? You have your CAP, which is what you're charging, what you got now. So we have, like I said, 20%. We have 20% tax, 20% owner's pay. We're going to say we have that 50% operating expenses. And then we'll have the 10% profit. Right? So this is what we are currently paying, right? But what we may want to target, right? And this is where scaling becomes beautiful. Even though scaling also does cost, but what we want to do, especially with the reoccurring clients, we want to be able to change this so that we're getting more out of our business. Yeah, 20% is cool, but if you can make 40% of owner's pay, would you not take the pay raise? Right? Who wouldn't take a pay raise in general? So what we then have, what Profit First offers, is something called target allocation percentage, TAP, target allocation percentage. This is your target. This is your target, right? So my target may be, okay, I don't mind keeping 20% for tax, and then I want to make more. But you know what? Before I even go into my to my percentage, what I'm going to say is, you know what? Well, as I'm looking at my percentage, I want to make what? 15% more? You know what? Not 15% more. Let's go 20 actually. Let's think back. I want to go 20% more. So now I want to start paying myself 40% as owner's pay of the revenue, which means that I want to take that. I'm gonna make the numbers pretty simple, but you could obviously divide it whether you want to take it from tax or profit or whatever. But I want to take that out of the operating expense. So that means we need to then be operating the business on 30% of the revenue. And I'm going to keep 10% for profit. Now understand, you don't necessarily just go from your current target, right? You have to little by little scale, not necessarily little by little, but you just have to scale the company to get there, right? You have to scale it to a point where that is what your percentages is, and you can do that without hurting the business. So this goes into my fourth point. I know I just went into that. I realized I didn't mention this in the last video. I want to mention this in this video. Nonetheless, another way or piece of advice to help master profit first: watch this. Watch these numbers. Study these numbers. Study these numbers. Look at the data. Look at the data and see if you're getting there little by little. See if you're gradually getting to those percentages that you have in place. We know what your current is, right? We know what your current is, but we really want to get to this target. We really want to get to this target. This is what we want to be at. This is the green light here. And so we have to figure out how to go from our current to that green light, to that goal. And the best way to do that, like I said, is study the numbers, see what's going on, see how what adjustments you can make to get to those percentages, right? And then last but not least, simply just be consistent. Be consistent. Consistency is key in mastering profit first. If you're gonna pay yourself monthly, let it be monthly. If you're gonna pay yourself on a bi-weekly basis, let it be bi-weekly basis. Let it be a bi-weekly basis. If your owner's paying 15 or 10%, let it be 15 or 10%. Even if you want more money, then you have to then fix your allocation percentages. But don't be wishy-washy. Change it 1 month, then change it a different month, and then change it another month so it can benefit you. Be consistent. Have restraint. If you're only giving yourself 10 to 20%, that's what you give yourself. If you're only giving operating cost 50%, you have to make it work within that budget. So be consistent. So with that being said, those are my advice, my 4 pieces of advice on how to master profit first. My 5th one, I added real quick. Or my 6th one, I'm going to add it. Read the book. Read the book. That's another one of the best ways to read the book. But once again, thank you for coming and joining this video. Like I said, if you felt like I gave you some value, if you felt the effort I tried to put in to give you value, thumbs up, please. Give me a like, man. Comment, ask questions. You can get in touch with me as well. through TikTok, through Instagram, through my email. If you're new to this channel, subscribe, bell notification, get some notifications whenever I drop a video. You're probably wondering when it's at. Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Check out my TikTok content as well. Once again, I appreciate everybody. I appreciate the support and just kind of just building this. So, and I hope to put you guys in a position, if it's whether you want to make an extra $10,000, $20,000 a month, you want to put your school or just pay school loan or just have money to put in your children's college fund. Like, I hope that, you know, you guys give me the ability to be able to put you in that position. And we just also achieve. I will see you in the next video. See you later.